Hey guys, welcome back to Maelstrom Gaming Studios. I'm Craig.
And I'm Connor.
And we have another video for you guys today. We are going over some of these special rules, specifically the Synapse-based special rules of the Tyranid Codex. Most of these saw an upgrade. You have to think about them a bit more. Are army-specific or are pure army rules, the Synaptic Imperatives, are tied into here. And then we'll just touch on a few extra things. This is mainly just kind of covering up special rules. It took me a couple times, maybe I was just slow the day I was reading it, but it took me a couple of reads through to process all of this. So I thought there's got to be someone else out there who's a little confused by them. Hopefully this breaks it down and makes it more straightforward for you guys. So before we dive in, do consider supporting our channel. Just click that little like button or the subscribe button if you want to stay up to date on all of our content here at YouTube. And if you want to help support the channel, the growth of this channel even more, do consider becoming a member. You do get access to member-only videos and access to our Discord channel along with some other goodies there. Just a fun place to hang out and talk Tyranid and other 40K stuff. So with all that out of the way, let's dive into today's video. Okay, so in today's video, we're going to go over Shadow in the Warp, the Swarming Masses, Death from Below / above, the new Synapse rules, the Synaptic Link rules, and the Synaptic Imperative rules.
It's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff. It's a little confusing, but hopefully we break it out to be nice and easy for you guys to digest.
Cool.
So the first one is Synapse and Shadow in the Warp.
Yeah, these two pertain to me a lot when I play my Grey Knights. So who has the rules? All the models and units with the Synapse keyword. So everything.
It's the same way it has been, but they break it out in the Codex to be a little more, you know, the way they have been saying with 9th edition. Okay.
So it'll be in their abilities tab and adaptive physiology to one non-monster.
Yeah, so we still have that to grant the adaptive physiology like we did. We can grant a non-synapse monster Synapse. They gain all of these rules.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Cool. Shadow in the Warp is an aura, 18-inch range. Certain rules can now turn off Shadow in the Warp. Okay.
Yeah, so originally Shadow in the Warp was not an aura ability. So
what do you mean?
It wasn't described as an aura.
Oh, it didn't have that word.
It didn't have the keyword, which means if your opponent had a strat, an ability that turned off auras, Shadow in the Warp was not affected.
Interesting.
Now your opponent can technically turn off Shadow in the Warp.
Huh, Grey Knights do have some psychic power or something.
That can do it. So
somewhere, yeah.
That's a thing we have to look out for now that we are into 9th edition, that rule might come up. Maybe it changes, but I mean, that's the way it is. You can now turn it off.
Okay. And what it does is it makes enemy units taking psychic tests -1, which is always what it did.
Yep.
And enemies suffer 1 mortal wound during perils. Oh, +1 extra mortal wound.
So you could take D3 +1 mortal wounds every time you perils. You could potentially kill some psychers with that.
Well, it's like a nice little
buff.
Extra treat.
Yeah, a nice little thing.
Yeah. And then Synapse range is a 6-inch range, not an aura, and it allows you to auto-pass morale.
Yep. So it's not 12 anymore. It is only 6 inches for auto-pass morale.
Oh.
But that one you can't turn off.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, again, confusing which ones are auras, which ones aren't. But there's some other special rules here. The first one's pretty boring. Death from below / death from above. I don't know why they did this. So death from the below is when our models, deep strike out from the ground, like our Trigons and our Molochs and stuff.
Yeah.
They just said, you can start, it's the same thing. Start on the board anywhere 9 inches away from enemy units. In match play, it has to be turn 2 and 3. Open play can be anywhere between turn 2 and 5.
Wait, in match play, you can only deep strike turn 2 and 3?
Yeah.
That's just how it is for everyone else, too?
Yep.
Oh, good to know. Okay.
So what happens is that they write it as a special rule from death from below, like at the front of the Codex.
Yeah.
And then they just reference it as death from below, which, is normal, makes sense.
Yeah.
But death from above, they reference the full text rule in the data sheets when it shows up. I don't know why.
But it's the same rule?
It's the same rule pretty much. It is the same rule. It's just they're coming from on top.
Okay.
I don't know why they do that, but just wanted to point that out that for some reason that's the way it is.
Interesting.
But the big rule that we got, which is awesome now, is swarming masses. This affects our Gaunts, our Termagants, Gargoyles, and Hormagaunts. Engagement range is now 2.5 inches versus 1 inch. So no longer are we fighting in ranks of 2. We can fight in ranks of 3 now with our Gaunts.
Whoa.
Which is awesome for getting our Hormagaunts specifically into combat range.
Wow, so you can fight with almost a whole squad of 30 sometimes.
Yeah, we can go back to that again. If the enemy unit is big enough and we can fit like a full 3 rank deep, easy to get all 30 of them in now.
That's cool.
A key note is if there's a rule, a special rule that reduces engagement range, because some codexes have that where it's like, oh, your engagement range is reduced by whatever rule. I know it's out there, I can't think of them, but they specifically say this. If there is a rule that reduces engagement range, you do not reduce it from the 2.5. You just ignore that rule and you ignore swarming masses, so it goes back to 1 inch.
Okay.
Just something to be aware of. It's very niche, but it might come up for some of you, and it's important to do it properly. So that's one of the little rules.
Well, that's a great little buff for Gaunts.
Awesome buff for Gaunts, specifically the Hormagaunts. Now this is where things get a little confusing.
Now we're basically doing algebra.
So synaptic links and imperatives. Throw out what you know from the Leviathan supplement. It will only confuse you. Well, it won't entirely confuse you, but it will confuse you a little bit like it did to me.
But start from scratch.
Start from scratch. Throw it out. All right, you did that. Now let's start again. So the way it works is it is similar, I say the same, as it was before. Any unit within 12 inches of a Synapse creature is considered to be within synaptic link range, meaning you can still chain from synapse to synapse to synapse and stay within the synaptic link range.
I'm just going to let you finish the explanation and then I'll ask my questions.
Nope, that's fine. So you can still do that. However, and I'll explain this later, synaptic link range of 12 inches does not always mean you can be, if you are 12 inches, like it says in this diagram, it's not always true. So that's why it's confusing. So that Broodlord is 12 inches away from the Termagant. So yes, it is in synaptic link range of the Termagant, but not all synaptic link abilities are 12-inch range.
They have differing ranges?
Yes, and it's really annoying.
Oh boy.
To think about. We'll explain them as they go on. But this is, well, so now I'll go into the synaptic imperatives, which makes things a little more confusing. It is our pure army-wide special rule. Each Synapse creature, whether it be warriors, Tervagon, Hive Tyrants, they all have their own synaptic imperative. It is not an aura ability, even though it works just like one. So you can't get it turned off. At the start of each battle round, which is important. So once you know you're going second or first, you can activate it before your opponent does anything.
That's really cool.
Very big. At the start of every battle round, you pick which synaptic imperative is active. In order to have one be active, it has to be obviously a model from your army, and it has to be something that is on the table. So you can't have your Flyrant in reserve and choose his or whatever.
It can't be something that's died.
We do.
Oh boy.
We do have a strat, one CP strat. If I believe your Warlord has to be alive, but he can pick a synaptic imperative of a unit that has been slain, barring it has not been used already in the game.
But in general.
If
it's dead.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the other thing is that you cannot use the same one twice per game.
So it's like a chapter doctrine. What's it called?
A doctrine.
A doctrine that you can choose once for one turn. Depending on the models you have. I can at least wrap my head around that.
So that part makes sense.
Yeah, I get that.
We will talk about these synaptic imperatives individually now and why things get... Oh, I should mention one more thing. What models actually give off the synaptic imperative is all of the Synapse creatures.
All the Synapse creatures.
All the Synapse creatures. So this is why it's confusing.
Yeah.
And it does not explain very well. So the Hive Tyrant has his one Synaptic Imperative. If you choose the Hive Tyrant's Imperative,
Yeah.
the Broodlord, the Warriors, the Zoanthropes, the Tervigon, they all give off that same aura.
Okay.
But
I get that.
yeah, so it's just
What is the synaptic chain? What is that for? Like, what does that do?
There are certain abilities like the Hive Tyrant ability.
Yeah.
That is, you pick an enemy or you pick a friendly unit within Synaptic Link range. So if you have a chain of Synaptic Link, he can pick a unit on the other side of the table.
So this whole first little paragraph is just regarding the chain of synapse giving buffs and stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay, I get it.
Gets, like I said, it gets really kind of confusing.
Yeah.
But hopefully, again, we'll break it down.
Yeah.
Now let's go over all these Synaptic Imperatives. I think these are fun. I don't know how competitive all of them are.
Well, the Hive Tyrant one looks pretty...
But we'll go.
Okay.
So again, I wrote it in here for all of them.
Yeah.
But these are only a 6-inch aura. So even though they are Synapse stuff, they're still 6 inches from the Synapse unit give off these auras.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just
very bizarre.
It's very confusing. But I think of it as your Synaptic Imperative range is the same as your Synapse range. But if you increase your Synapse range, you don't increase your Synaptic Imperative.
Okay. All right.
It's confusing. So I'll just run through them.
Yeah.
Hive Tyrant, 6-inch aura of fallback and charge.
Fantastic.
That's great.
Yeah.
The Broodlord grants light cover. If they already had light cover, they get heavy cover.
Also fantastic.
Yep. Tyranid Prime, range attacks, if they are within 24 inches.
Of a synapse creature.
No. If the target is within 24 inches of them.
Okay.
6s to hit, score an additional hit. So that's good for close range stuff.
Okay, cool.
Tervigon, 6-inch aura, +2 to your move/advance.
It's not bad.
Yeah. It's not move and advance.
Yeah.
So it's just your movement phase, you get 2 extra inches.
Okay.
Neurothrope, I like this one. 6-inch range again. +1 to psychic tests. +1 to deny tests, and grants 5-up, ignore mortal wounds.
Ooh. Imagine your entire army being
psychic heavy.
Helpful against Thousand Suns, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, it's only one turn. And all of these do affect the actual Synapse creatures themselves as well.
Right.
Not like the Chapter Master bubbles or whatever. But they actually affect themselves too.
Okay.
Anyway, Trigon Prime. This is a fun one. 6-inch aura. Death throws, so our explode, happen on 3+ instead of 6s.
Okay.
And all other models get a mini death throws of 1 mortal wound on rolls of 6.
Gaunts?
Gaunts. Yeah, all your Gaunts explode on 6s.
Whoa.
And do a mortal wound to the enemy unit.
That is fun.
It is...
Probably not competitive.
Death throws has changed, so now it is 1 unit within... the closest enemy unit takes the mortal wound. It's not all units within range.
So you're not going to be blowing up your own Gaunts anymore?
Nope.
Aw. That was always fun.
Yeah.
All right.
So those are the first half.
All right.
A few more. Tyranid Warriors, 6-inch aura. 6s to hit in melee equal an additional hit.
Exploding 6s.
Exploding 6s in melee.
Okay.
The Maleceptor, another 6-inch aura. This one's great. Can make range attacks, still do actions. Can perform actions even if they advanced or fell back. And Psychers can perform actions and psychic powers as normal.
So it's like a secondary...
Yeah, it's awesome.
Achiever.
I wish you could use that one every time because, I mean, specifically the psychic ones. You could have a Psyker that can, say, cast 3 powers.
Yeah.
They can cast 3 powers plus a psychic action.
Wow. So
very
kind of
good.
like 4 powers.
Yeah, very good.
Okay.
Zoanthropes, we mentioned this in another video.
Yeah.
All monsters within 6 inches gain a 4-up invuln save, and all non-monsters gain a 5-up invuln save.
Is that the strongest one, do we think?
I think so. I think it is the strongest.
The strongest in general, maybe we'll say.
Yeah.
Depends on the situation. But
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then the Parasitomortrex. 6-inch range, +3 inches to all consolidation and pile-in moves, to a maximum of 9 inches, technically. Because there are ways to get that even higher.
Very specific. I'm sure there's ways to make that cool or do something good with that.
A lot of these, and I'll talk about it at the conclusion here, a lot of these feel powerful,
Yeah.
but you have to think about actually getting the biggest bang for your buck.
Because you can only pick one per turn.
Per turn, and then your whole army benefits. So you got to make sure, okay, if I pick this one, is one unit going to benefit or are 5 units going to benefit? That's why I think, you know, things like the Turvagon +2 to your move.
That's great for turn 1.
Yeah, or the Neurothrow if you're running Psychic heavy.
Yeah.
Or if you've, I mean, the Broodlord one wouldn't even be bad in that case. The Zoanthropes one's great.
Yeah, but when do you use the Zoanthrope one? Yeah, that's super interesting.
It's going to take a lot of play for people to figure out which ones are actually worth bringing, how many are worth bringing, because yes, you technically can use 5 of them, but do you want to use 5 of them, and which 5 do you use?
Huh. Okay.
So that's that. So conclusion, I think all of the rules here are really good, with the exception that Synapse, not ignoring morale, is only 6-inch range instead of 12-inch. They're really hammering home the idea of having your Synapse creatures and your non-Synapse really close.
Which is fluffy.
It is fluffy. You typically do that, so I think units like Warriors and Zoanthropes are going to be key to keeping your key synaptic links and Synapse together.
Yeah.
The confusing aspect.
Yeah.
Synapse range, 6 inches.
Which is ignore morale.
Ignore morale.
Okay.
Synaptic link range is 12 inches, which is linking your Synapse creatures together
to give out buffs.
Buffs, psychic powers, certain stratagems are based on synaptic link range.
Okay.
Synaptic imperative range, which is our doctrines, whatever, are 6-inch auras from the Synapse creatures.
Okay. That makes more sense.
Hopefully that makes a lot more sense, and maybe you can just ignore what I said earlier. But yeah, if anything here is wrong, I will fix it in a pinned comment, but I'm pretty sure after talking with people and reading it like 6 times that everything in here is correct.
Okay.
I'll even check it again after when I'm uploading this, but I think it's all good. It's worded really weird in the codex, and I wasn't a fan of how they did it. But so like I said earlier, my favorite units right now are the Turvagon, especially if you know you're going first.
Yeah.
I like the speed. I like the Kraken speed that they have, so that just doubles down on that. If you know you're going second and you want to still deploy aggressively, Zoanthropes would be awesome, just giving your army invuln save all the way around the board. Maleceptor could be a good option for turn 2, doing some actions and getting some key shots out and things like that.
Yeah.
And then the Tyranid Prime, I think would be great for shooting armies. If you're playing a very dedicated shooting army, get yourself up into the midboard, get within 6-inch range, or with 24-inch range, then just give your entire army exploding 6s in shooting.
Cool.
Be very good. So that is everything for these Synapse rules. Hopefully they made sense to you. If you have questions, do put them in the comments, and I will try my best, or maybe some other of you can help answer the questions. I think these rules are good.
Yeah.
Specifically the imperatives, I think they're good, but they're not crazy powerful, which is how they should be.
That's how you kind of want a codex to be when it comes out.
It is. And like I will echo in most of these codex review videos, I think GW did an awesome job so far without playing any games with it. I'll admit that. But at the first initial impressions, I think they've done a great job balancing this codex to be powerful, in the right hands, really powerful, but not OP.
Which is kind of the only way to do Tyranids.
It should be.
Because it's always been hard for GW to balance them.
Yeah, they are a tough one. I think this codex stands right in par with the Sisters of Battle. So maybe some of you are disappointed by that. Some of you are happy with that. It's not Admech day 1. It's not Custodes day 7. And it's not Harlequins day 1.
Yeah, I'll say too, a positive of that, like, I think you can kind of say it for 1,000 Sons and Sisters as well. Like, when your army isn't completely overpowered and broken when it comes out, you're probably not going to get these huge points nerfs. So maybe you'll get to like play with it how it's supposed to be. Yeah.
And all the armies will balance around you, and soon you will rise up.
Yeah.
So I think it's great so far. We'll see what happens with the next videos. Let us know what you want us to cover next in these videos. I think we'll probably touch on the high fleets as the next big video, but that is going to be a lengthy one because there's a lot of depth with the high fleets now.
Yeah.
I love it, but man, it's gonna be a project.
It'll be a long video.
Yeah, so stay tuned to that. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next time here at Maelstrom Gaming Studios.
Thanks, you guys.